You, sir. And welcome to anybody who's joined us. And we're going to run this video after on our Facebook page as well for people who are not yet with the Zoom times, but we're with Zoom times, right, Rick?
Zoom times. There we go. Good to see you, Commissioner. Good to see you.
Very good. Thank you so very much for being available. I know that you've got a lot of requests during this difficult time for information, and we're really happy that you've joined us to let the community know some of the resources, some of the ideas, some of the opportunities that exist for our workforce and for our small businesses. So first, I'm just going to let everybody know this is part of an ongoing series called Our Community Cares.
Okay.
As District 8 Commissioner, I'm going to be coming to you live on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 4 o'clock with different speakers. And I'm really thrilled that our first speaker is Mr. Rick Beasley. We're going to be looking at the impact of the coronavirus on our business community and on our workforce. It has impacted so many aspects of our lives, but we're going to be concentrating today on the workforce issues. And just a little bit of background about you. Rick, of course, we've had the pleasure of knowing each other since you first came to Miami from Missouri.
Yes.
So we've worked together a lot in my different roles, and you have served as Executive Director of Career Source South Florida since 2005. In fact, the name changed since you've come into job, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And in this capacity, you oversee the programs for Miami-Dade and Monroe counties with an operating budget of $75 million, and the overarching strategic policy priority for Career Source is to develop the local talent supply chain, support economic development that leads to higher skilled, better paying jobs that improve South Florida's quality of life. So welcome, Rick.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. You know, it's been a pleasure. When you said how long, I remember, I think I met you on my first or second day on the job. So that's how long we have known each other and worked together for this many years. And it's been my pleasure to work with you.
Well, you sure have staying power, and you've proven yourself to be an indispensable part of our community infrastructure, always bringing messages of hope. So really grateful for your great work. So if you could let us know, first of all, what is an overview of the services that Career Source provides?
You know, as a workforce board, our goal really is to provide policy direction as well as implementation of programs that help build services or build programs to help our employer community find talent, but also to help train workers in our community. And that's the overarching mission for us, that the programs that we do supply or invest are meeting the needs of the targeted industries that we've identified for our community, so that we grow the talent, so that companies recruit here and they stay here.
Great, very good. And what about specifically for small businesses and helping them to cope with and rebound from the current economic downturn that we expect from this virus?
So because of this virus, I mean, there's a number of things that small employers should be looking to do. One, there's a program called the short time compensation program. And so for those small employers that have at least, let's say 10% of their workforce, that they're going to have to reduce hours. And actually, this could be a strategy that small employers who are on the verge of laying folks off, this may be a way of kind of strategizing to prolong a layoff, that they could use the short time compensation program. Is through the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity. And that program is designed where the employer goes in, he applies, and if he's reducing the hours of his workforce, at least 10% of his workforce, if their hours are reduced, he can apply a plan with the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, submit the plan for approval. And those workers, let's say they lost 20% or half their hours. They had 40 hours of work, but they're now down to 20. Well, those employees, instead of being laid off, could actually get a portion of those lost wages paid through the Unemployment Compensation Fund. And so that could be one way that employers can save and not lay some folks off. The other strategy that the governor just announced, and you're aware of, Commissioner, is the bridge program, the loan program that provides a bridge to help small employers with a low interest loan to be able to have the resources to maintain. So those are some of the strategies that the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity has shared with us that we're able to provide to the community, working in partnership one with your office, with the Beacon Council, Mike Finney, and the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, of course, with Alfred Sanchez. These are some of the programs that are available to our small employers.
Great. I was really excited to learn about this short time program.
Right.
Because essentially, if a business can hang on by cutting back on hours instead of closing shop, so they have reduced receipts, they have reduced business, but enough to just keep going and keep those employees just for a few hours, then the difference can be made up through this program. And the business can stay open. It's less disruptive to everybody involved. So I think it's a really great option. And then the bridge loan program. What's the maximum that a business could receive, and who's eligible?
Well, small employers are eligible. I don't have the exact amount with the max on it, but small employers are eligible. Actually, employers, period. Our goal there really is to see what resources that we can help so they can sustain because of, again, the ordinances or the declarations that not only our governor, but our mayor, the mayors across the city, the counties, and the municipalities have declared that restaurants must be closed, bars must be closed, and so you have impacted workers. And so if there's a way for them to have a bridge program, a loan to help them offset the loss, that'd be great. I think one of the suggestions, though, Commissioner, that I would recommend is for those of us who are working. And those that are hearing this or seeing this video, this audio with us, have an opportunity that let's utilize Grubhub and Uber Eats and others to get food from these restaurants in our community to help them grow. Last night I actually instead of going buying something or actually making something, I actually did an Uber Eats because, again, there's a restaurant around the corner from me. It's a small business. He lives not too far from my community. Had a great conversation with him some years ago when I first met him. And so here's a way that I can help generate some resources so that he can continue to have at least a cook or someone in the back to be able to make the food, but at least they're working. That's what I think we have to do as a community, to look at how we could do that.
So, and you're underscoring a few important points, which is that restaurants above 8, you can't seat more than 8, have to be closed for the restaurant portion, but they can still do the takeout and delivery. So, drive-through, takeout, and delivery. And so those are still jobs. That's still part of our economy that we can keep moving. And we got a request, for example, from a Burger King franchisee, and he did not realize that the Burger King drive-through was still open, that he still operated. And the curfew of 11 doesn't apply to the drive-through. So that meant that all of his restaurants, he had several, could stay open. All of those people could stay employed. So that was a great benefit to that business owner, to those workers, and to the public that still depends upon that kind of food service. And then you even said you made the choice. You could have gone home and cooked, but you realized that this would help out. I know people are also doing gift cards and things like that to purchase to keep the business going, even if they're not able to use those cards right now. Let me say, how can people get the information about the programs you mentioned, the short time and the bridge loans? Where do they go?
So the short time is, again, through the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity. If you go to their website, and it's actually, I think it's www.myflorida.com, you can click link there and look for reemployment services, and they have a list, but it's I'm looking right now, Commissioner, making sure I have it. It's www.floridajobs.org/office -directory, Division of Workforce Services, Reemployment, and you'll see it there. The information is there. We are excited to share it because it does provide another strategy for employers to offset laying individuals off. So here's a way or mechanism to assist.
very good. And we have James Comstat, who's watching right now, and he's with Beacon Council, and he has let us know that it's up to $50,000, the loans. So that is excellent news. And by the way, I see for the federal government, the Small Business Administration also has loans of up to $2 million in assistance per small business, and that can also provide vital economic support to small businesses experiencing a temporary loss. And those federal grants are at 3.75% interest for the small business, and even nonprofits can qualify at a 2.75% interest. So that is great. And that's for companies, the federal is, that can't get credit elsewhere. So this is a real safety net for businesses. And the short-time compensation program that you described, floridajobs.org, and the Florida Small Business Emergency Bridge Loan Program. Oh, floridadisasterloan.org.
Okay.
floridadisasterloan.org. We have not, have we implemented the Disaster Unemployment Assistance Program?
No, we have not, and I'm quite concerned. I've actually sent a request to the Florida Department of Education, Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, asking as a request so that the department can make a formal request to our governor to request from the president for the disaster unemployment assistance. That has to be done, and that's something your office, Mayor Jimenez and others can do. To submit a recommendation or request to the governor, request disaster unemployment. We have, as a workforce board, have done so. That can be something that I would suggest that you, as a commissioner and the body and the mayor, make that request. What happens there, and it really would help us in terms of the impact. We are experiencing a number of individuals who are applying for unemployment insurance, and they're coming into our offices. And it's nothing wrong with coming in, but if we can minimize the impact of coming in with disaster unemployment, they can just file for the disaster unemployment. Everyone knows that they're unemployed because of a disaster has been declared. And so there's an impact in terms of the number of folks coming into the center because of filing for unemployment, but without that disaster component, they're going to be coming in, and we can minimize the impact of individuals coming in because of that.
So we want to encourage people to utilize the internet, of course, and all sources are on the internet, but we know some people don't have access to the internet. Right. So you're still open?
My offices are going to be open. What we're going to do, Commissioner, we are going to shut our offices down to the public, but we're going to put some things in place. Right now, we're creating a 1-800 number. That will be implemented here by this afternoon. We'll probably make the announcement. I'll make sure I reach out to your office as well as every commissioner and the mayor's office. We're going to work with Mayor Jimenez as well as Deputy Mayor Maurice Kemp when we do so. But our goal is to create this 1-800 number so we can do and provide employment services virtually. We have our cell phones in, we have laptops that are being delivered. And so that I can work with you virtually and contact with you and follow up and do things online.
Thank you so much. That's really great. So even if people don't have access to a computer, they could talk to an operator, to a counselor who could do that for them.
Correct.
Online.
Correct. Excellent. So also let me share with you, I know we're here to talk about employment and training services, but I do want to give a shout out to Comcast. Comcast has launched, as you know, Internet Essentials. And you know that is a broadband internet access that they have made available at a low cost of $9.95. But just to let you know, we received word from Comcast that because of the virus, nationwide, they are going to provide complimentary service for low-income families at no cost during this time. And so I'll make sure we get that information over to you to spread the word. I know they probably have it on their website, but they have
Thank you. That's great.
We're
emphasizing that as well, and thanked Comcast. Since you're mentioning that, let me also reference that the county is not doing any water disconnects during this time, and FPL also through the end of the month at least will not be doing any power shutoffs. So those are very, very important points, and that would be true I'm sure not only for the individual, but for the business.
Correct.
So if a business is getting behind payments, obviously we want them to pay if they can, but they won't experience a shut-off. Let me go back to the point that you made. We're not in the process yet of having that emergency unemployment. I will follow your direction. We will include our request to go up through the mayor and to the governor. I was on a White House call a little earlier today, briefing with county officials around the country, and it was very clearly stated that the federal government is waiting to hear from states, and states are getting their information, obviously, from Frontline, which is the local government. So we will prioritize that. But in the meantime, and again, I want to thank now Spencer Highland, who's on.
Spencer, yes, greater
Greater
Commerce, my friend.
Yeah, and Spencer wants us to remember that there is reemployment assistance available right now.
Right.
And that is, again, at floridajobs.org/reemployment. Oh, there's a long thing. But if you just go to floridajobs.org, there is a button for reemployment assistance, and we want to encourage people. And I heard, I think it was from the governor yesterday on a call, that, you know, we have, oh no, excuse me, Rick, it was you who told me that we have training dollars available. And there are, of course, still jobs. So if people are no longer going to be employed in one particular industry and maybe hospitality or a restaurant, that there are other possibilities, and we have training dollars. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so a part of the reemployment assistance, and Spencer, thank you so much for mentioning that. Again, we talk about disaster unemployment, but reemployment is always available. That's, again, those folks who go online, they fill the information out and come in. We want to, again, continue to assist them. We'll, again, do it virtually, but our goal there is to get them connected. We do have a number of employers who are still submitting their job orders to us looking for employees, and our goal there is to get them connected. And so for those who are filing for reemployment assistance, one step I do want, and I hope everybody who's listening to my voice can do this for me, go to Employed Miami-Dade. It's a website that we have. We also have an app. You can download it through your iPhone or through, what's the other one? Not the iPhone, but Commissioner, I have an iPhone. What's the other phone?
iPad? I don't know.
The other type of phone. I'm sorry.
Android.
Android. There you go. I appreciate it.
Yes, the Android. Yes.
So through an Android phone, but if you download, there's an app called Employed Miami-Dade. We have one also called Employed Monroe County. So if you go down and you download, please register. That will expedite our process on our frontline staff working with all the job seekers who are looking for reemployment assistance, who are looking to go into training. We need you to complete that out in its entirety. Put your information in.
And Rick, let me just ask, so when you have that 1-800 number, if somebody doesn't have access to that form online, could they also walk through it with a counselor on the line?
Oh, yes. Yes. That's one of the things that are part of this process when we saying going virtual. The reemployment assistance, our goal there is to reconnect with individuals who are, again, filing for unemployment, those who are looking for training. But we will have the iPhones where we have the WhatsApp, or we'll FaceTime you. So as if I'm speaking in front of you. And so if people have access to Zoom and others, we'll connect them where they can, again, do it right online. And just like you and I having this conversation, that I can walk you through the process, get the information that I need to enter into our system, determine eligibility, be able to look at the programs we have. Now, I want folks who can hear my voice to be patient with us, because we're working with training vendors. You know, we don't provide the training. We pay for the training with our partner agencies. And because of the virus, a lot of our training partners are going online and building online curriculum so that they can offer the training to job seekers. So that's one of the things that, you know, I guess the challenges, but also the opportunities. I see this virus as one, and we all look at it kind of negative, but it has allowed us to go back and reflect, but also look at technology in a way that's a little different in offering programs that will help meet the times. And so our training vendors are going to have to go online. Some of them are designing programs that our folks can access through their computer. And so we're still going to be enrolling individuals into the programs that we know that are online to get them up and running.
Very good. Thank you. That's all great information and very adaptive. Thank you so much, Rick. Now, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about what you're hearing from the community. How about businesses? What are some of the concerns that they're expressing in this time?
Well, one of the major concerns, again, it's the opportunity. Because of the downturn, lost revenue. We have a number of restaurants we do business with, a number of companies that we do business that are laying folks off or actually reducing the hours because of, again, the downturn. And so the challenge there is about revenue. For us is how we use our resources to help. So again, keep in mind, when companies come on and they are hiring, utilize our services for either paid work experience where we can subsidize the wages, or on-the-job training where we can then subsidize the wages as they're being trained on the job. And we can reduce that cost up to 75% of the wages. So those are some of the benefits that, we can assist. But companies right now, again, it deals with times that they're kind of questioning about what's happening. Everyone's kind of panicking. And I know Mayor Jimenez and the commissioners, you all have been steadfast and keeping the pace. And I would say this, that the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, our business community, with Alfred Sanchez and Philippe, our chairman, have looked and where our business community is kind of stepping up and saying, hey, we are facing some tough times, but things are going to be just fine. And I think that's what we need to rely on. And so for those small businesses that are facing some shutdowns in terms of our restaurants and the hotels, the occupancy levels going down, that we're just going through somewhat of some scary times, but it allows us a time to reflect, reorganize our organizations, and then come back even stronger. But I know our chamber is looking at some services that we can afford our community. Alfred Sanchez and Spencer and those guys are there available, that you can reach out to the Chamber of Commerce and look at the types of resources that are available in terms of the loan programs, in terms of other services that are available.
So your message is hold on if you can. If you need to scale back, but don't give up hope, don't close. Find out about some of these resources so that you can keep doors open even when you're scaled back. Now, we've just heard from Maria Cotto for Partners for Self-Employment, and she's pointing out that businesses are concerned with paying overhead costs like rent, of course, wages, and inventory. We talked about the fact that water and sewer, you might not have that turned off in this period that the county is forbearing. Let me underscore that also the county is not having police to evict people. So we are in the process of an emergency time when evictions will not be enforced. So that's true, again, for individuals as well as businesses. So at least hold on. Don't, if you're not able to pay the rent, the landlord is going to have to understand we're all going through this together. There's some forbearance. What else do I want to say? Oh, the comment, was from LaWanda Wright Robinson, not from Maria Cotto. Thank you, LaWanda. Okay, so that's from the business angle. What about from the employees angle? I mean, obviously people are losing jobs, some of them very suddenly. What else are they telling you?
Well, on the job seeker side, we are seeing an influx of individuals who have lost their jobs because of the virus. And our goal there really is to get their applications process or work with the Department of Economic Opportunity. We don't handle the application process, but we can kind of help expedite. So if they're having problems, we'll give you that 1-800 number when it's set up, Commissioner, so that we can get it out, have them call us. We're working with the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity to get a specific number of folks that we can call here locally at the Fort Lauderdale office. I'm told there's some people in Tallahassee they want us to call, but I want to hear local, because having it here local, we can assist them faster and better. And so we'll have individuals that they can call and let us kind of help address what those problems are when they're filing for their unemployment, so we can see how we can get those things expedited. Again, we want them to file, but we also want them to complete the registration process so that we can assist you in finding employment. If you do everything online, complete the application, your name, your education profile, your work history. All those components are very valuable and important in terms of how employers can find you online, but also how the staff in the career centers can find you to be able to refer you to employment. And so, again, if you go through the process, our goal is trying to see how we can minimize the steps that you have to go through, but we still need to be patient that these things will need to come to, to fruition to help folks get the resources in terms of unemployment or training resources. So again, we'll make ourselves available, Commissioner.
Okay, excellent. And I see here from DeAndrea Sherrill, let me close this. Okay, she's asking if some of these same things are in place for Broward. The eviction protection is a local ordinance here in Miami-Dade, so I don't think it's available in Broward, but something that the Broward commissioners should look into for sure. And it came out of hurricane disaster, and somebody was evicted in the height of it, and flood. And so we just felt as a county commission that we had to, we needed to make sure that people would be protected at the height of disaster. And I see there's another comment here. I'm just getting to this new equipment here. We had a comment from Spencer, again, from the Greater Miami Chamber. He points out US HUD has a website with an updated press release. Let's see. It says, here it is, that Secretary Ben Carson, in consultation with the Trump administration and the Coronavirus Task Force, today authorized the Federal Housing Administration to implement an immediate foreclosure and eviction moratorium for single-family homeowners and FHA-insured mortgages for the next 60 days. And they're part of the overall response to coronavirus. Thank you, Spencer, for that. And let me point out, Rick and I are both very active in business organizations. I think, are you also on the board of the Greater Miami Chamber? I know I'm there as a board member.
Actually, I'm the first vice chair of the Greater Miami Chamber. I'll be chair-elect in June.
Oh, that's right. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Also on the Beacon Council, or Economic Development Arm. I know you're a member there, as am I, as the representative of the Miami-Dade Commission. So we stay very active and make sure that we're in touch with the business community. And so now let's just talk to kind of wrap it up, because we're only allowed 40 minutes for free on these Zoom calls. After we cover the last items here. What can each of us individually do to assist small businesses? So what can the public do to help out small businesses during this downturn?
This is what I mentioned before, Commissioner. A lot of us, a number of us are working. Here's an opportunity to work with our Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce and our other chambers to provide resources to them. But on a personal note, if you have the opportunity to get your lunch, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and small businesses in your neighborhood that participate in Grubhub, Uber Eats, and others, have the food delivered. It enables someone who a cook or a chef to prepare to continue to work, and helps that small business to continue to have resources coming in. At the same time, it also helps that Uber driver to be able to afford to make some money and provide that to you. If we're all going to be, if you're going to quarantine yourself or you're not wanting to get out, those are little small things that we can help grow and help that small business. But also reach out again to our Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, our Beacon Council, the Coral Gables Chamber as well, and the South Dade Chamber. I'm mentioning the chambers I know that we're actively involved in. But I would tell you, through Alfred Sanchez, his leadership, they're looking at designing a coalition to help provide additional resources so that our small businesses can tap into. But personally, I think we all can order our lunches where it can help someone through a driver, again, generate revenue, but also help that small business generate revenue. We all have an active role here, but at the same time, we also have to be very conscious that we have a virus. We want to make sure that we minimize our connectivity, our socialization with one another. But again, we still have to make sure that we have these businesses thriving once we're able to get beyond that quarantine component.
Very good. So to emphasize here, social distancing, which we need to practice to
Right.
avoid exposing ourselves to the virus, because any of us could be carrying it at this point. We know it's out in the population. Doesn't mean that we have to be socially isolated. And
Correct.
it doesn't mean that we can't care for each other. So we have to be thinking of other ways to connect and ways to support each other, and drive through and drive by is all possible because we can practice using our disinfectants and keeping our distance and so on. We can safely. So that's really important. So buying those gift cards. By the way, somebody mentioned keeping your subscriptions going to your gyms and your lessons and all of that. That is another way that we can keep it going. I want to make sure for the record that it was pointed out that we had the bridge loans were 50,000. They could go as high as 200,000. I want to point. So we're going to be posting all this data, and we did send out an email with business resources. We're going to continue to provide this kind of information as a benefit to the community. So please, everyone, follow us on social media, DL Cava on Facebook, on Instagram and Twitter. And again, we're going to post this interview on our Facebook page. So people will be able to, it'll be archived and people will be able to see it later. Let's see here. Oh, here's some more ideas. You could buy now and pick it up later. So while you're at home and having some spare time to think about things that you might need. Maybe you have time to design your business cards or your banner or whatever manufactured product. This is a good time to put in that order, pay for it now, and you could pick it up later, right?
Right.
By the way, I think Rick really has such a good spirit about this. Why don't you just call your local business that you know and say, what's going on? What can I do to be helpful? You might be surprised. They might have a good idea, and then we could post it. Now, let's just put this into perspective. We were at our lowest unemployment rate in what shall I say, within our memories, right?
Exactly.
The economy has been really, really strong. We know that we are going to take a huge hit, and this is worldwide, but we know that we can bounce back. We know, as you say, we really want to keep everybody going as long as they can, keep the hope. So let's just remember that we will still be a hospitality hub. We will still be a financial market. We will still have agriculture. We will still have academic and all kinds of services. Trade will still be a hub for trade. So looking ahead, we want to remember that our community and our economy will rebound, and CareerSource will be one of the outstanding public agencies here to help us with that rebound. So I want to thank you so much, Rick. Do you have any parting words for public?
For us, Commissioner, again, for our community, please go to www.careersourcesfl.com. Go to our page. We're going to have some information out there for our employers, for our job seekers, and also for our youth population. We will be providing reemployment services for those individuals that are laid off. We also will provide what we call rapid response activities for those employers who are needing to lay off. We want them to contact us so that we can provide immediate assistance to those workers that may be impacted. And then also for business resources, please contact our Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. Speak with Alfred Sanchez and his great staff over there, as well as in the Beacon Council and some of the things they have. So we have resources available. I also encourage them to contact their elected officials so that they can provide also informational resources. Commissioner, thank you for your leadership and what you're doing. I think you're always innovative with this.
We're trying.
There, but it is a way for us to get information out. So I greatly thank you as well.
Yeah. Well, apparently we had a few minutes for question and answers. So this is our first time up. So apologize for being rusty. I've been trying to keep track of the chat. If anyone who's listening has a question, please go ahead and post it. We have just a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, oh, okay.
So what do we want to do?
All right, go ahead. I heard.
I would like to take them to get some exercise too. So do we want to walk here? Do you guys want to ride and I walk? Do you want to go to Gearing and get them and walk?
Okay. This is very hard here. Opening your mic, please mute your mic. Okay, so if anybody wants to speak, you can open your mic. You can open your mic, but let's not open all at the same time. Who's that?
Yeah.
It's 3 nights, right?
Okay. All right. I'm gonna pass on that. If you have a question, please write it in chat. But let me what's to come. So again, we're going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This is our first show, Wednesday. On Friday, we're going to have Martha Baker with us from SEIU, Service Employees International Union. She represents the workforce at the healthcare facilities throughout South Florida, and she's going to talk to us about some of the challenges facing our healthcare workforce today. And the impact of the coronavirus. Obviously, they're the frontline workers, and we're very grateful to them. They're putting themselves at risk to help all of us, and we want to see how we can support them. And then next week, Monday, Wendy Walsh of Unite, the union that represents many of the workers at the airport and others, she'll be talking about the impact on workers. So you know how airline travel is down, the airports are empty. And so this is having a huge, huge impact on that workforce. And there are over 80% of them now not working. So we have a huge, huge challenge with those workers who have been essential workers, and we need them to be available when the economy comes back up. So those are two of our future topics. We welcome suggestions for other programs. I'm going to just double check the chat here. See if we've got any more. Yes, we had one. Okay, are there any programs for small business owners that are being affected by the COVID-19 with canceled and postponed engagements and still having to pay fixed over? So I think we've addressed that, but Rick, is there anything specific that you could say?
I would again suggest that they look at the bridge loan program, and then they could reach out to the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, speak with the staff there, and see if there's any other resources that may be available to address their specific need.
Right, and we do want to remind them that evictions in Miami-Dade will be delayed, and also we have the suggestion that Dade Legal Aid is helping with eviction cases should they arise once the courts are back open. So Rick, thank you so very much. This has been so informative, and more than that, a lot of heart. So we're grateful to you for your commitment. This is not just a job. This is something that you really love to help the community, and it's really apparent. And so we thank you very, very much.
Thank you. And Commissioner, thank you. We'll get the 1-800 number to you. Again, whatever we can do to assist, there's some things that you hear about, please let us know so how we can address them.
Great. And also the Greater Miami Chamber has their website, miamichamber.com, and we'll post all of these, miamichamber.com, careersourcesfl.org, floridajobs.org, and a few others that we've mentioned. So our time is up, 4:40.
Commissioner, thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, everyone who joined.